Hey folks, welcome to our walk and review. We're back after a bit of a hiatus due to some illnesses.
Yes.
Illness, singular,
Yeah.
not me. Yeah, we got some games to cover. We did take a break from playing a lot of games. So I think the workload is about the same, but let's get into it right now. First off, I want to cover up some games that I played individually from you. I played a solo game, plus I played some games not with you. One of those was Coinbro, which we covered here on a walk and review before. Go check out that video if you want to see our full thoughts. But this is a game that I can teach on the fly. I don't really have to reference the rules too much.
Yeah, it was pretty much one that, was kind of game night situation. What are we going to play? And you were willing to teach it, so.
Yeah, so I taught some new people to it. Still a great game. My strategy of getting up the tracks.
The tracks, yeah.
Getting up the tracks faster, that is still a sound strategy. And it still worked with this group.
Oh, was it face-to-face?
Oh, face-to-face, the game. So this is a two-player game. This is based on the game. So you have, in the game, you have one singular stack where you're building it up in a certain way. But this is specifically a two-player game. Each player has a stack of cards numbered 2 through 59. And then they have two cards in the center of the table. One that says 1, one that says 60, and you're building away from it. So the 60 has to build down to 1. Your 1 has to build to 60. However, the thing about this game is the person who wins is the person who gets rid of their deck first.
Oh.
Yeah. So the cool catch about this game is you can help your opponent in a way. You're setting them back a little bit. You can play cards that will help them in some sort of way. So if on my track I have a 30 on my, and I'm trying to get to, not trying to get to 1, but it's working its way to 1, then someone can play a 40 on there and give me a bit more room. And the reason that's important is because you're also getting rid of one of your cards at the same time. It's really nice. And yeah, and the catch of this game is you can always play a card that goes backwards by exactly 10. So if I have a 30, I can always play a 40 to give myself some breathing room. And this game's pretty fun. It's just a two-player game based on the game. I really enjoyed it. It's
And it's just cards?
simple. It's just cards.
Just cards.
Yeah, it's just cards, and it does take up a bit of table space after a while because you're building this giant display of cards. But yeah, generally speaking, what it does is pretty cool. Finally, the solo game I played was Box 2.
Oh,
I
it's
mentioned,
Box 2.
yeah, so that full playthrough is here on the channel. I mentioned I would talk about it here in the walk-in review, and I will.
And I know a little bit based on Box 1 because I've seen you play some Box 1. So does it kind of pick up where that one left off, or it's like a whole
Not
separate
at all.
entity?
I really wanted it to, like storyline-wise, I wanted Neil Patrick Harris to be this mastermind guy. I'm gonna go into some spoilers for Box 2, so fast forward to the next section if that's your thing. He is not. He's nice Neil Patrick Harris in a way. He has a little twist at the end where he has taken on an AI persona. It's not a great hidden identity though, because you know it's him the whole time.
But it's still really awesome to see someone
you get a feeling like it is.
like Neil Patrick Harris that's getting into that board game realm of like making something that's a board game / like escape room, but interactive. Like
that's what it was supposed to be.
That.
So the original Box 1 is more of an escape room experience, and it's really cool because it was sold as like, oh, this is going to be a trivia game, and then turns into this crazy thing. Box 2 is a box of gimmicks in a way.
Like little puzzles,
Like
huh?
if it were sold as some other name from some other company, I would be like, this is expected from a Target game. But because it was Box 2 from Theory 11, I had high expectations. And the components are pretty good. It's luxury style components, but the quote unquote puzzles themselves aren't puzzles. So there's multiple moments in the game where you're like tasked to do a thing. Like And it's all driven by this app. The app itself is basically holding your hand to give you the answer. Instead of waiting for you to say, like if we were in an escape room, we would say, we need help.
Yeah, like, okay,
But
we need
it'd
a
be
hint.
like if we were in an escape room where it's like,
All right,
you
and
walk
now
into
you're
a
gonna,
room and-
now you're gonna go look over there. Now you're
it'd
gonna
be like
open
someone
this.
on the speaker being like, man, that bed looks suspicious, doesn't it?
Ooh, something looks
Wow.
like that popped that drawer open.
Exactly. It'd be guiding you the whole time. Every time you talk, it'll say some sort of hint, whether you want it or not.
I wonder if it's more so because it's like a solo option, and what if you don't have, you know?
Well, no, because Box 1 did it so well. So they need to live up to this expectation, and it's hard to do, but they've already set themselves up for it. I think in the video I said if this were the first release, that'd be more expected, but as a sophomore release for that company, I wasn't really into it. It's just fine, you know? And in a day and age where we're needing to be better than just fine, I think I don't think it lived up to expectations. But another thing about the non-puzzle things is, like one of the things is, look into this thing. What do you see? Oh, it's this. That's not a puzzle. I'm not figuring out anything. Like one of them is like, put this thing in cold water or put this thing in hot water. They actually have both of those. And all you're doing is you're doing the action, putting the thing in cold water. What do you see? That's not a puzzle. That's them telling you what to do.
An activity.
That's an activity, exactly. Put this thing in hot water. Tell us what's on it. Okay, great. Puzzle complete.
Yeah, that seems like more like just little activities to do to get to the next step.
Right. If you want a good example of puzzles, play Emerald. We have a playthrough
Yeah, that
on our channel. The Emerald something. What's it called?
Oh gosh, I remember.
I'll put it on the screen right
in.
here because I forgot what it's
sitting
called.
in on the kind of the last bit of it, and those are some puzzles.
That is a
makes your
puzzle
mind
adventure
think.
that is really fun. Even Box 1, if you haven't played, that had puzzles in it.
Well, I think what I liked about Box 1 and what I hope that people enjoy about Box 2 is just somebody that you would not think of in board gaming, like Neil Patrick Harris being involved in board gaming. And it just kind of, it shows you that
Yeah, but we don't just need a celebrity to do it just because they're a celebrity. We need them to actually do it.
But I feel like there's like, branching out into like board games are for all, and like for all different industries of like getting people involved.
But celebrity
in board
endorsement
gaming.
doesn't do anything for me if that's how it's delivered.
Yeah, especially if the game is not what you expected it to be. Like you wanted puzzles and you got activities.
It
and
feels
that's
like,
not the same
is Peyton
thing.
Manning really into insurance that much?
Oh, yeah.
No, they're paying him. He's making money out of it. And with Neil Patrick Harris, I like Neil Patrick Harris, but if you're gonna start churning out this level of thing, it almost takes me out of it a little bit.
So how would you rank Box 2 versus Box 1?
Box 1 was like a probably, oh yeah, that's right. We do BGG rankings here. Forgot about that. Well, let's rewind. So this is going to be fun for me in editing. All right, so let's rewind.
Well, you've given...
Coimbra, I've already done that. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
The game, face to face. Let's give that one a 7.4.
Do you think
I like
it's something
that. I would definitely play it again.
You think it's something that I would enjoy as far as
absolutely, you would enjoy that because it's cards. You like little card games like that.
I like card games.
Then now to Box 2. Box 2, I'd give it a 6.2, I think.
Ooh.
I was almost going to go 6, but the gimmicks are, the production quality is great. But the way they handle all these things that I already talked about could have been handled better. All right, so that's Jesse's Solo Corner.
And then I've been playing a little bit of solo stuff myself recently, but mine is more like I said, I really like card games. I've been playing with some decks of cards that I got from PAX, and they're from publishers that they're based on art out of board games for the company. One's based on the dragon artwork from Gray Fox Games.
Yep, from various...
just various different dragon art.
It was all originated from a Robert Burt game, actually. So.
And then the other decks of cards I've been
Dragon
using
Magi,
was
Magi, something like that.
from Leaf, based
Yep,
on the
Weird City
art
Games.
in Leaf.
I have to call them out because they gave us the decks for free. So.
Yes, and they are very good, nice quality cards. My only thing is that I play solitaire a lot because it's a solo card game. I mean, I play a lot of solitaire.
Yep.
You really need to see the saturation of the colors between the brightness of a red and a black. And with the dragons, they tried to go more color scheme with the dragon, so it's more kind of almost like a silver gold, but I didn't find the saturation of the colors kind of muted. I wish it was brighter in the detail of the color saturation. And so that was my only kind of thing about, it's like whenever you're basing art on another game and putting it on something else, like with just basic playing cards, I just wish that color was a little richer. But the art's really nice on those playing cards, and which just in general, the art in Leaf, I really like.
Yeah.
So that's been my little solo plays for while I was under the weather.
So no BGG grade for.
No, I mean,
it's just more of a.
I just play. Just you play your games on the, with the videos and.
Currently playing through Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Let me know your thoughts on that, spoiler free, in the comments if you want to. I really like the first one, and the second one's holding up too.
I feel like I'm watching a television show while you play it, and so I just sit there and play cards while you play that.
But let's talk about board games, because that's what we're here for.
Yep.
Canopy Evergreen is a game from Weird City Games. This is a game where you're building up your forest. It's loosely based on the game before it called Canopy. Canopy itself is a card game. Canopy Evergreen makes it a board game. You're building up your forest, you're building trees, you're introducing different wildlife and different events to your forest, such as wildfires or fungal blooms in a way, different everything really in the forest. And it's all Vincent Dutrait art, so wonderful art.
Very nice. And the animals, there's different wildlife creatures and animals in it that they have their own little special cards.
I think the thing that stands out about this game is the way you draft. It's a three-stack draft system. You're working your way from one side to the other. And your first choice, I guess I'll just use an opening as an example. Your first choice, you get one choice of a single card. You look at it, it's a face-down card. See if you want it. If you don't want it, you put it back down and you take a card from the deck and put it on top. So you don't know what got added to it.
Yeah.
After that, you go to the next stack. It's 2 cards. Do I want these 2 cards? If you decide no, you put it back down, you put a card on top of it. If you decide to take it, you take it and then put another mystery card face down. And then the final stack is 3. Straighten out. There we go. Final stack is 3. And if you take that, you replace that one with 2 at 2 players. I don't know if it's different at 3 or 4 players.
Yeah, I think the 2 cards only for the 2-player variant, but I might be wrong.
But I think that's the cool appeal of this game. So you use a little bit of memory to kind of know what the stacks are building up to. So in later rounds, you'll be like, okay, I remember what I saw in the 3 stack. Do I want to work my way back to that?
And then there's only so many of each type of thing. So if you already see that your other players have like 2 or 1 or something, what's the odds that that's going to come out in those mystery cards? So then it's like a pushing your luck kind of thing. Like, well, if I hold off on this and go to the next one, that card I was looking for might have come out as the mystery card, and it could be right there. And so it's almost like that, do I want to try for the next one or go for the next one? And that's what I kind of like about it, is that little pressure luck kind of style to it. And then the animals that are in the game can kind of give you some bonus opportunities. They might give you some points at some point in time, or they might even give you some play variant of like, oh, you can look at the cards you've already passed up. You can look through all of them, and well, if you want to, go back to the other decks. You didn't really want this, so go back to the other one. So I like that kind of little play with the different creatures. And because my playthrough experience, the first round of it was like, oh, I did not do very well. But then I kind of picked it up, and then rounds after that, figuring out how to pick up those cards. That is like the core part of the game. How do you pick up the right cards at the right time to benefit, to get you points at the end of the round?
All right, so let's get. We can't spend too much time talking about these.
But this, well, I'm saying
we got a long list
this
today.
one I gave probably one of my highest ratings of a lot of, so I don't give huge numbers, but I gave this a 7.5. I really, really enjoyed this.
Yeah.
Like after having not played for a little bit and then we played this game, it's like, this, I will automatically go back to at any time. Like I want to play this again. I love the style of it. I love the look of it. It really got a huge ranking for me.
Yeah. I would come back to this, not eagerly so, it's just pretty good. So I gave this one a 7.3 because I do like it. I like the art, of course, I like the art. And I like the theme about it. It's much better than its predecessor in my opinion. The predecessor to me is good, which once again, in this day and age, you gotta be great. And this one's closer to greatness than the other one was.
Yeah, this one got pretty much, that's a high rating for you. You know, my numbers are always a little skewed different from yours.
Yeah, I mean, my 7 says, okay, let me think about owning this. You know, if it's under 7, then I'm just like, I'm okay playing it. I never need to own it.
Yeah.
So this next game we have, it's a game called
Thematic.
Resurgence.
Yes.
And in this game, the cool thing about this worker placement is it has a phase called the leadership phase where you're deciding roughly where you're going to place your workers. There's really only like 3 options. There's one half of the board called the metro, the other half of the board, kind of, I guess it's the harbor or something like that. And then there's home base.
Yeah.
Those are your 3 options. And depending on who puts the most on each spot, will work your way up a leadership track, which is points and bonuses and stuff like that. And that's the twist of the game. The game in itself is simple. The worker placement spots are like, put a guy here, get a thing, get a piece of food.
Yep.
You know, something simple as that. They don't get too overly complicated.
I think the placement of it is knowing what type of, because there are different types of workers in this game, and certain places will only allow certain workers to go there to get the reward. And so while you're doing your leadership at the beginning, you have to figure out, okay, who am I sending where, to what area to get the best stuff? And each one of them has different points they're worth in order to go up the track. So there's a little bit of strategy in there as to like which people to pick up throughout the game, where to place them, when to place them in certain places, because you know, throughout the game, other people are going to be placing, that might affect your turn, you know. So it's very simplistic in just worker placement, but there's a lot of strategy
That's the twist
involved.
to it.
Yeah.
I think we should go this way because we always walk that way, and so we're gonna change it up.
Go this way.
We're gonna come back this way, I think.
Yeah, and so I think that's what I really enjoyed about it. We played it 2 different times. Once just us, and then another time with Joe. And so we saw it at different player count, and it can change a little bit at different player counts, but yeah, when you just boiled down to it, it's worker placement and maybe some card abilities throughout the game. But I really enjoyed that one. You know, I wanted to play it again, so that says something, because I was like eagerly, hey, let's play this one. Let's share it with somebody else at a board game night. So
yeah, there's so many worker placement games out there. The theme is fine. It's a neat theme. It's not one that's visited as much as it should be, even though it seems like it kind of is. But this is one I would introduce as a intro to worker placement almost, or maybe like a step 2.
yeah, because it's very easy going. It's very easy to kind of jump into, to teach easily. And I really, it's interesting because you see the box art of it and it feels like that kind of interesting, what is this game?
So we played the first edition. There's a second edition, but from what I can tell, the insides of the box are the same.
Yeah, I really like that big, bold title on the side of the box. It really stands out on the shelf.
Yeah, so I don't know why they made a second edition. I think maybe different publisher picked it up, but they switched the box art to like this silver color. I mean, they kept the font the same.
And white.
Yeah, it's black and white with the surgeons being red. It was, yeah, extreme and cool looking. But yeah, I liked Resurgent. I give this one a 7.4.
And I ranked it a 7.2.
Okay. Very good. That's Resurgence.
So now we get into some rah, 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 with Raw, the deluxe edition.
Yeah, I guess you got to specify.
Yes. When I wanted that game after playing it we played at Sobo the first time, and
Southern Board Game Festival coming soon. SouthernBoardGameFest.com. If you're in the Gulf Coast area, come on out. It's a good time. It's Lafayette, Louisiana.
Yeah, it's coming up real soon, around the corner. Well, we played it. We played just the basic version, but when we had the chance to get the deluxe
played the old
version,
brown version.
Oh, the deluxe version, it's got some chunky, nice pieces, not big wooden chunky pieces. And this is a game where I could come in flat out, tail in, barely any points, and I still love this game. At one point, I had the 1, the 2, and the 3. So my betting was not going very well, but I still enjoyed the play. I enjoy playing with people who also enjoy it because it's just the camaraderie of it. It's a betting game. You're trying to get the best things out on the row, but really it's just kind of fun just to play a betting game with your friends.
I don't know how to be good at this game.
Oh, I've never done very well at it, but I love the gameplay. And that is the
Leave me your
sign-
strategy tips in the comments for Raw, because every time I play this, I'm like, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, and then I just don't.
Yeah, I feel like that's the sign of a good game to me, whenever I can flat out not really do well, but I will play it all the time. I constantly suggest it at pretty much every board game night. It is one of my tops, I would think, or, I don't know if it was around at the time I made my top 10, but, if ever I make another one, we'll see. Could be up there.
Yeah, you could always update it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's pretty good. It's not near top game for me, though. I know it's a lot of people's favorites. The production's great. What 25th Century did with it is fantastic, and it was well-deserved.
I love the blue color of that box. It is such a striking color.
But I don't know if it's a game that I'm always going to suggest to play.
Yeah, I want to bring that one out every time, but that's why I rank it a 7.7. It still hasn't quite gotten all the way up there into my 8s and 9s.
You've had an 8 before.
Yeah.
What, Ezra? Nehemiah?
Oh yeah, Ezra Nehemiah. But I think it's because, like I said, I don't do well in the game. I love the gameplay, but I wish I could understand how to make more points. that would be nice.
Need strategy tips. For me, I give this one a 7.3. I give it a 7.4, maybe even 5. I don't know. It's a Robin.
Oh, Robin.
Yeah, if I had a sound strategy, maybe I'd feel better about playing. But every time I go into it, I'm just like, hope it works out. It may as well be a dice roll sometimes.
Yeah, it could be.
And if a game feels like, oh, this could be a dice roll, that's not a good sign.
But I will say, when you play it at full player count, it really does matter the betting chips you get. So I enjoyed when we played it recently, full on five player count.
And here's the thing, I know there's a strategy to it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
John that we play with, he does very well in it every time. So clearly there is something. Yeah, so and it's just I'm not getting it. Yeah. So I know it's not really a dice roll, but to me it is.
Yeah,
it's
so
me dice rolling, not the game. It's not my fault. It's not the game's fault.
Yeah, so that's some Raw. I enjoyed playing that one. One of our friends, Matt, he brought over some of his games, and we played a little card game called Push that I never played before.
As you can imagine, it's a push your luck game.
Yeah.
In this game, you have a bunch of cards labeled 1 through 6 in various colors, and you are pushing your luck to build 3 different columns of uniquely colored or uniquely numbered. You can mix and match them, but if a blue 1 comes out, you can't put any 1s or blues in that column.
Yeah.
And you try to push your luck as far as you can, and then you could quit at any time, collect a column, and the next 2 players collect the other columns.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because once you get the same number, same color, and can't put anywhere, you bust, and then you get nothing. And everything goes to all your other people next in line.
And that's why I didn't do so well in this game, because when it comes to push your luck games, I just keep pushing.
And I'm always on, I go on the far other side
Overly
of things where,
cautious?
yeah, I'm very cautious, like, okay, I'm good, I'm leaving, goodbye.
Yeah.
And there is an option where you can bank cards in this game, but I did not see where that was really beneficial. Banking just means that in future times, there is a dice that you could potentially have to roll. And if that color comes up, you'd have to get rid of all those cards. But if the cards are banked, they're not gonna ever go away. So
Yeah.
I was very cautious banking cards, but it didn't really get me many points. Not much more than anybody else. So it really is truly a pressure luck.
Yeah. I give this game a 6.7. It's a fine game to play. I have no want or need to own it.
A little bit of rocks right there.
This is why we're in Louisiana. And these slight hills where we're like, oh.
I gave it a 6.5. It was a nice little card game, real easy going, but it's one of those, like, I'm glad Matt brought it. I'm glad we got to play it, but I think I would just like, oh, well, Matt has it, I'll just play his.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. The next game we played is a game called Rise of Augustus. Think of this as Gamers Bingo. If you want to sample it yourself, it's on BGA under the name Via Magica. It's the remake of it. It's animal themed, but Rise of Augustus is Vincent Dutrait art, early Vincent Dutrait art, and you're just putting out a thing, just like you would in Bingo Hall. You would spin the thing,
Yep.
B8, and you would see if it, in this case, it's
Catapult.
sword or catapult, and you're putting a little meeple on top of it. You have a limited number of meeples, so more icons than meeples out there. Once you finish all the icons on a card, you get to play the card and do the effect of it. So everyone is competing to try to finish the most cards. I think you only need 7 cards to win,
Yeah, 7.
so it doesn't take much. And then you see who wins from that. For me, I couldn't figure out a good engine for this. This is another game that John brought. So John has this game figured out
Yeah.
to where he knows what strategies to do.
It was kind of like one of those ones that he could just explain to you the cards as they were coming out without any trouble. And I'm like, oh goodness, what does this person do again? I don't understand what that's gonna do. Wait, that's gonna get these two. So knowing the cards is crucial in this game, because as soon as you fill it up and use it,
the potential of what's coming out to.
yeah, because you can get some real serious, heavy hitting, like hurt other people cards come out.
Yeah.
But does that really benefit you? Would you rather get something that might have a little bit more point power in the end? Because I was like, oh, I don't want those hurting cards coming to me, so I'm gonna take them. But then I could never finish them. Because, you know.
Yeah, because they have more needs than a quick play card.
Yeah, the rare stuff wouldn't come out.
But John did a good job of explaining the game, telling us what was important.
Yeah.
The problem is those things that were important weren't out at the beginning of the game. They didn't come out to the very end. So it was kind of a, well, what's second or third most important? And that, you know, we didn't quite cover as much. This is a fine game. I think I would prefer the animal version of it.
And I think I would like to play it on BGA, something that might move things along quickly for me.
Because you reveal the thing, you can just click on the card you want it to be. I do much better on BGA. I looked up my rankings on there. I've won this game a few times on BGA.
I'll have to try that one out, because playing it at the table, I was like, I just need to know what these cards mean more. Like, I think that would have helped me.
Yeah.
So I gave it a ranking of 6. I think it's fine, but I didn't put it at 6.5 or higher for me, only because I feel like I wasn't playing it to its full potential. Maybe if I knew a little bit more about each ability, that might help me.
I gave this game a 6.7 because functionally I like what's happening. I like what they did with Bingo. It's easy to explain it that way. So as far as a light medium game goes, yeah, 6.7. I don't need to play it all the time, but I'm glad they kind of found something to do with the Bingo mechanism.
Yeah.
This week we're revisiting a game that we talked fondly about, Andromeda's Edge. This is no stranger to hype. This is a big game about space, worker placement in space, We're going to add a few notes, or more Melissa is. In short, for me, it still holds up. It's still great. I still want to play more of it.
I don't remember right offhand the ranking I gave it the first time around, but now having played it,
Go see that video.
yeah, yes, go see the other videos and compare my ratings, because this is getting one of the highest ratings I think I've given since our walk-in reviews, at an 8.
Oh, you moved it up then.
I
think you were in the
moved it on up.
7s. I think mine was in the 8 as well.
And I think it's because the more that I get knowledge of how we're doing and like changing up strategies or playing through it, I'm like, gosh, I really love this game.
Oh, that's good to know. Good to hear.
Oh, I just really love it. And it's like so big and powerful looking on the table. And then of course, space.
Yeah, space. Some
It's
people don't
space.
like space themes.
Oh, and I love it. It's one of my
It's so limitless.
favorites.
Yeah, why wouldn't you like a good space
Ooh.
theme?
So it moved on up in the rankings for me. It is up there in the 8s. Depending on if I ever play anything other than the Plutonium Empire, we'll see if it goes higher.
So we
I do
kind of
need to
played
play
a
something
game and a
different.
half, really.
Yeah, because we did a little
But
kind
you
of like,
stuck to the same thing.
yeah, I stuck
I
to
tried the
same.
crawling from the expansion. That was not for me, or I wasn't playing it right. But then I switched over
To the-
Who did I play?
The dragons with the flames.
Love them.
Oh yeah,
They're fantastic.
And the artwork is so cute because it's like based on the
It's
art
easy to get
from
my
that-
head around too.
from the other game, Flame.
Well, the boost happens right at the beginning, so I don't always have to.
First through the rocks, not trip.
Well, we never walked this way like this, except for that first one where we had to turn around because of the wind. But now we got these little things.
But yeah, you tried a different. You played all like. You played it what about 3.5 times now, and
I
you played it
a
different group
one
every time.
Of course, yeah. I want to experience it.
I have pretty much played one group. I need to expand and play a different people next time to give it a chance with someone else.
Well, there's always our Monday streams on twitch.tv/heartboardgames. Leave the I out because there's no I in board games. We can always play it on that because we're pausing on my island right now. So
Just until Joe gets back
So we're
around.
filming this on a Sunday, so we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the 2-player abstract game, Garinto is one that might scratch your itch. This is one that actually plays at 4, and I think it would play fine at 4, but we experienced it too. I think it plays fine at 2. In this game, you have a bunch of little tiles that make stacks, and you have a mountain of tiles in the middle. Mountain being how it's built. 4 stack in the middle, 3 around that, 2. So it builds on an incline somewhat. And yeah, on this game, every tile you take is building up the ability to use that particular tile's ability, which is picking up things around it, picking up things in a line or a row, various things like that. The goal of the game is to do whatever the goals tell you to do.
Yeah,
So
which there are some everybody goals.
It's not going to be the same every game.
Yeah, so the
Which is
goals
kind
will
of a nice
switch out. There's some like everybody goals that you're going to do at the end of each little season, and then there's one that's like the end of the game goal.
Yeah. So we picked this game up on a sale. I believe it was a Barnes & Noble sale. If I had just played it without the sale, I don't know if this is one I would need to own. So for that, I gave it a 6.8. I do like the abstract games. They just don't come out enough for us.
And what I did like about this
We just
one,
talked about space theme, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Nice themes.
What I did like about this one was the different like little goals,
shadows now.
like the different little goals that you have kind of determines how you're going to pick things around on the board. And there are different varying layouts that you can do. So there's some variety with it. There's some replayability, but it is very abstract with just how you pick up tiles. I gave it a 6.7 because I feel like it's a nice, easygoing abstract game. It's not something I'd bring out all the time, but I enjoyed my playthrough of it.
Same. I like it, but I don't feel a need to own it. Even though we have it now, I don't plan on selling it per se, but if I'd experienced it in a sampling way, I'd be like, that's okay. I wouldn't be itching to get it. So Clank Catacombs, if you're familiar with Clank, it's a deck building game where the bad thing in the game is making noise, which is Clank. Yep, this time you're not tripping.
Oh, I'm stomping.
Stop
I'm
it. Well, that's how you make
Clank.
Clank. And the more Clank you make, the more likely you're to take damage from the dragon's attacks. And once you run out of hit points, you're dead in the dungeon.
Yep.
The goal of the game is to get out of the dungeon and try to make the most points by doing so, grabbing an artifact, getting to the top level, and hopefully making it out completely.
Yeah. And this is another game that I'm very reserved and not so much pressed to go farther and farther in, whereas you are kind of opposite. You're just gonna try to go for that big thing and hope for the best to get back, and I'm a little more reserved. So I'm like,
No, it's based on what all the other players are doing. If I see your position and you're not even close to the end, I'm gonna keep staying out.
and I'm always like, well, but the dragon's getting a little angrier, and
No.
now we're gonna pull some more
So
stuff.
in
and
our
bad guys,
playthrough, because she's so timid and ready to get out, our hit points, we only had lost like 2 hit points at that point.
And I think mine was like,
So there was no risk
the
for me.
dragon was getting angry and angry by the time that we were like in the deeps, that we're pulling 4 or 5, and like, oh, I put a lot of Clank in.
Yeah.
I don't want all that Clank coming out. And I was kind of like, if I go too far, it's not gonna be good. So I'm like, let me just get my one thing and get out. And that really hurt
Yeah,
me
you picked
to
up
not.
like a 7, and I ended up getting a backpack and picking up the 12 and 15.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, that really hurt me because I
it's
should
huge.
have pushed a little bit more. But then you're kind of at the mercy of like the cards I was picking up maybe weren't the best cards I could have put in my deck building, but it's what was available that was coming out. And so in a different game, maybe other cards would come out and I'd have a little bit different strategy of how to move around. So, I mean, it changes every game. But it's a deck builder, it's a dungeon crawler, it's a lot of stuff that I enjoy. I just feel like I wish I would have pushed a little bit more to go a little further out and a little more adventurous.
So this review for you is more about Clank as a whole. How do you feel about the dungeon building portion versus the regular?
I did like the mystery of what's coming next, but it also was a little like a little different in like, okay, so when something's going to come out, if you're the person put out the top, you're choosing where it's going. So it's like, but I don't want it to go like that. Whereas in just a regular Clank, the whole board's just, okay, here's the board, it's done, this is what it's going to be. Well, in the Catacombs, everything's coming out little by little, but if you're not the person that's finding the piece, you don't get to choose which direction it goes in. And it's like, I didn't want it to go that direction. Put it this way, turn it around. So I don't think I like that part of it, but I like the mystery.
The design of Clank, though, is silly in nature.
Yeah,
It's a lot of jokes and stuff like that, so I'm okay with this game throwing some weirdness and throwing some crazy things at me. I think this is the best version of Clank outside the Legacy. The Legacy games, I'd have to weigh them, but I think I still favor the Legacy experience more than what a Catacombs. But as for a one-off game, I think Catacombs is the best version of.
I think I
Clank.
preferred this over Space. I will say that. I think.
I mean,
in
yes,
comparison,
definitely.
In comparison, I think I preferred it a little bit more
Yeah.
than Space.
Well, Space shares
overall-
shares it in a little way because you're forming the map at the beginning. So it is different,
Yeah.
or it can be different each time you play it. And that was an appeal for me with Space because back in 2020, Space made even my top 10. It's fallen very far off because I guess maybe Clank Legacy and now if Clank Catacombs exists, those two are way more likely to make it in my top 10 than Clank and Space. But that was an appeal for me.
Yeah, I still enjoyed it. Let's see, what did I give it a ranking of? A 6.7. I feel there's a.
Clank Catacombs 6.7? That's
Yep.
kind of low.
It was low only because I think I just prefer regular Clank.
Nah, I
Of
give this one a
all of the
7.8.
ones.
7.8 for Clank Catacombs.
It's a
I
little
really
low on
enjoy
my
it.
Scale, but
Yeah, this one is close to an 8 for me. So I already said it's as far as Clank goes, if I need a silly deck builder, this is where I'm going to lean. Clank Catacombs. There's a game from Stonemaier Games called Red Rising that's based on a book series that I have never read and really didn't know existed until this Red Rising game came about. In this game, you are trying to build the best hand of cards. That's the whole goal of the game. The game plays in 30 to 60 minutes. At the end of that game, you want to have the best cards in your hand that score. All cards score. They just have to work with each other, have synergy with each other. And so that's the whole thing. You're exchanging card for cards. I don't know how exciting that is.
I think the style of the game is interesting because, like, say you have a hand of cards. You're going to put a card out and do whatever its ability is. But then you have to pick up another card from a different area, and that's a reward.
If that's the ability, if that's the thing you're doing.
And you would get like a reward. So you might move up a track or gain some helium, or you might, something, the little score tracker thing might come to you, or something might happen in relation to like what cards you played. And once you have all your cards in hand, you might not want to change your hand of cards. You might not want to give anything away. So then you're just like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of put out a card, hope for the best. And then to end the game, you have to have 7 of one of the 3 different things that are out. Either 7 on the fleet track, or 7 in the helium, or 7 in, what was the other third? There's a third thing that has to have 7. But you have to have 2 of those 3 things, and then the game ends. And then you just count your points on the card. I mean,
there's the problem. Yeah. This is how the game, and then the game ends.
Yeah, it's just.
So where's the excitement in that? It reminds me of that scene in Princess Bride where it's just like, that's it? So there's no big swing moments. There's no big climbs. There's no big, this is the turn that I caught up in. Like in that game, head to head, the game, there was this one moment where I took a huge risk and played like all these 50s in my hand and filled up that row. And that was like the big swing moment where it's like, this is either going to work or it's not. You're not getting that in Red Rising.
I think if you knew the book series, it might be more of an importance to you.
Sure, but that's not going to change the gameplay.
Because you might know the characters a little bit better.
That doesn't matter.
For me,
what if it was Lord of the Rings? I would still feel the same way about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just trying to make the best hand possible without messing up any of your other cards' point abilities. There's a little bit of strategy to it, maybe based on what you place down, where you place it, what you're gathering.
There's definitely strategy to it. It's just not exciting. Yeah. That's all it is.
I enjoy. We played it 2 times because it's been a long, long time since we played it. We have not played it since way on back a few many moons.
Right.
And so the first game of it, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't remember. Why do I only have 3 cards? Like, I was like so confused what I did. It's like, okay, let's play it again. And we played again a second time. It went better. Still not too extravagant or exciting, but it went better. I gave it a 6.7 because it's easy going and I understood it, and that's fine. It's fine game. There's just like so many cards I don't think you're ever gonna get to.
I don't think it's meant to get through them all.
Because sometimes like, oh, you need a blue for this. Well, we haven't seen a blue the entire game. It wouldn't come out. So
I feel like this game should have played faster. Like if they would have designed it to be a 20-minute game with 3 rounds of play. That way I'm getting that build up 3 times instead of 1 long time. There's so many, like what if 7 Wonders was 1 long round instead of 3 individual rounds? I don't think it would be as good.
No, because you need those in-betweens.
You need those in-betweens to be like, okay, let's step back and see how I'm doing. Oh, I'm not doing so hot. I need to switch gears.
Yeah, because like
that never comes.
Well, like I'd said earlier about Canopy Evergreen, I completely messed up the first round. It was bad. I was
like, it's a 3-act structure in a game.
How did I not get any points? Oh, I got to do better. So the next couple rounds, I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to get more points, and I did much better.
And you can see it.
Yeah, with Red Rising, it just keeps going and going till, all right, has someone hit 7 heliums yet? No. Has someone hit 7 on the, no, okay, let's keep going. I'm like, it just keeps going and going. And then we never got through like maybe half the cards. Now maybe in more players, you get through more cards, but there's a lot of cards in the deck and a lot of different colors. And in a 2-player, we just didn't see a lot of them.
Yeah, we saw like 2 blue cards, and that was right at the end. But yeah, if I were playing this game as someone's prototype, I would say, keep going, you got something here, but my notes would be that. Let's shorten it, let's get some excitement involved, because right now the excitement only comes at the very end, and before that, we're just in the dark.
Yeah.
So I give this game 6.2. Hey kids, let me take you back to the year 2011. There was this company called Tasty Minstrel Games who made great games. Had a dragon everyone loved. Dragon had a name, but it's kind of fading from my memory. I think it was like, post it in the comments if you remember the dragon's name. I don't remember what.
It was a cute little dragon.
Yep, TMG Games, TMG. They made a game called Dungeon Roll, very popular because it probably didn't take much to print. It was a couple dice in a chest. If you've seen the game in a chest, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. And people stood by it for a long time as being a really cool game, but 2011 was a different time. You know, we have very limited choices. The board game designs have accelerated so quickly that this game, to me, doesn't hold up. And funny enough, like 2 days after we played it, someone posted like a redesign idea for Dungeon Roll on Reddit, and no one commented on it because probably no one knew what the heck it was. It's a forgotten game.
And I think this was a game that I probably picked up at a flea market sale or at a convention.
Yeah, you definitely did.
For probably not that much. And I just thought the little box was a neat idea that it came in a little chest. You know, all the dice and the little cards all come in this little chest box that I just thought looked very interesting. You know, it's like, oh, that's a different style for a game box. But unfortunately, there's not much you do with those dice in that little box.
So to tell you how the game plays is one person's the adventurer, the other is the dungeon. It's a player to your right or left or something like that will be the dungeon master. And the dungeon master is rolling dice equal to the level, or as much as they can. So if you're at a later level where you don't have enough dice, you just roll what you got. Meanwhile, the adventurer will roll all of their dice to build their party. And they are spending dice to handle what the dungeon master is throwing at them. If that sounds exciting to you, that's odd because that does not sound that exciting to me. There's just, it's roll, let's see what you got, let's see what I got, kill some dice, let's do it again, except with one more die.
Well, and it's only 3 rounds, so it does play relatively quickly. So I did like that about it. It does play quickly, but what I didn't like is like, okay, you're gonna just roll these dice and then, okay, this is just it. Unless you have some special ability on your character or something rolls in your, you know.
Hearing a woodpecker, I wonder if that's coming through in the sound.
You know, something comes out that benefits you. Otherwise, that's the dice you're gonna use and that's it. And there's not much else to it. You're just 3 rounds and then, okay, who got farther along? And I don't think we ever got past, what, level 5? And I was like, how is anyone ever supposed to get all the way through? Like, we barely made it to 5 and that was only halfway.
Yeah, it just seemed like if you ever had a moment where you failed, you're done. There he is.
Oh, there's our little woodpecker friend. Ah.
It's gonna be hard for me to show you on that thing, so I don't even know if I want to turn the camera for that.
But he is hard at work up there.
Yep.
Oh, there he is.
Yep, he got shy and flew away.
Oh, yeah.
So Dungeon Roll, I give this a 5.7.
I gave it just flat out 5.
There we go. We're kind of on the same boat as that.
Yep.
Our journey comes to a close with Darwin's Journey. This is a big worker placement game with some tracks going on, some different islands, stuff like that. A lot going on here in this heavy-ish game that you can try yourself on BGA. It is on there. I can't wait to get into it to give you a little preview of what I thought about it. In this game, we are, I guess, we were working with Darwin in some sort of way. It seems weird that we're competitors, but
I feel like we're maybe researchers.
maybe we're like multiple Darwins. Because yeah, what you're doing is you're going to these various islands, you're discovering new species and you're introducing it to a museum to get coins and prosperity in books and stuff like that. So the more of that you do, the more cash and books you can get, but you can get it in other ways. Big worker placement game. Thanks, shout out to Wes and Kelly for introducing that game to us. This was a big ordeal, and deservingly so, because it's such a large game. Had the big nice deluxe. No, I like that trail.
Okay.
That we're out in the sun will be shadows again. Yeah, I'm trying to play cameraman. See like this right now, we're shadows. It'd be a lot more of that. Just shadow people talking about board games.
And what I did see about in a 4-player game of this one, it really matters your worker placement and like being very specific about, okay, am I going to travel with the little boat part right now, or I'm going to do more research, or am I going to try to get more money so that I can do more other things later? It's like you really had to figure out what's the best way to do each step where it benefits you the most, because as soon as somebody else goes to that spot, you're going to have to pay them money, you're going to have more money in order to do the action, whereas another place might be just free and empty. Okay, I'll go there because then maybe it'll get me something and I'll just try to earn some more to go do the next thing. And I feel like that's what I really messed up on in my first playthrough, is that I wasn't being strategic enough to know when to do the research, or when to go move the this, or when to go place the worker or the stuff. And I think if I was to play it through again, I might have a better time now that I know the gameplay, and to try to build up like a strategy of what to do.
Mm-hmm. For me, this game came down to playing it like I was on BGA and playing it for the first time. So what I do on BGA first time playthroughs is I will chase points over anything else. Sometimes I like to weigh my options, be like, oh, can this 2 bread, for example, not in this game, but can these 2 objects get me more points in the long run? I wasn't thinking like that in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I was just like, wherever I can find points, that's what I want to get, because I mean, that is the goal of the game, to get points for sure, but I'm not thinking long-term points. And so I was just chasing points as much as I could, but it ended up working out for me. And that's because we all weren't that experienced. And when you're playing a big, heavy game like this, the more experience you get, the better you're going to do.
Yeah.
Unless you follow this strategy of just chase points as much as possible.
And I think for my game there is like, I was so specifically trying to go for like one thing that I feel like I ignored all the other things in the game trying to do this one thing. And you can't really do that because then you're not getting the multipliers, or you're not getting the points for the for the goals. There were so many goals I was missing out on because I wasn't going for them in the rounds I needed to go for them at. And I think knowing that in the future, it would make for a better gameplay.
And this is a game that you always wonder, do I need to do everything in a game? I don't think you need to do everything in this game, but you need to spot opportunities when you can.
Yeah.
So if you see someone not doing things, you need to jump on these moments and kind of step on people's toes in the way, because it's a worker placement game. You're always going to step on toes. But yeah, create moments for yourself and opportunities. I think that's a great way to play this game. It's really big to talk about big games like this, especially after we only experienced it one time. Yeah. But we're just talking about how we felt in the one time. So I can't get into it as much as I talk about Andromeda's Edge, for example. So
like for my first impression, first playthrough rating, it feels a little low because I rated like a 6.9.
That feels low, yeah.
It feels low, but I think it's because I would need more playthrough in order to form a better strategy to really get into the meat and potatoes of the game, like to really know what I'm doing and enjoy it at its full potential. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed playing with our friends. I enjoyed something bigger than I normally would play. But I feel like in order for it to go a little bit higher in ratings for me, I would just have to understand the gameplay a little more.
I gave this game a 7.7. I think more playthroughs would reward that, like higher. We played with some expansions, so if I bring this out on BGA, I might not get that same experience. Now, people on BGA were scoring in the 200s as well. I scored in 230, something like that. But I feel that was aided by my little boost you get. It's like a unique to you type of character boost. If I didn't have that, I don't think my score would have been as high. It reminded me of Lost Ruins of Arnak, where you get a character card that kind of helps you to put a comparison on it. But I really like it. I look forward to playing it again. It's just such a big game that if I wait too long, we're just going to have to do a whole new play, a teach, and then we'll forget everything.
It was the thing that we knew we were going there to play this one game. And really, I mean, it took the evening. It is a big game.
Yep.
But I feel like it might not take as long in the future if we really knew what to go for, like without questioning.
It's on BGA. You could always just click through it and play it that way, which is probably going to be the next way I experience it.
Yeah, it was a nice way to kind of end the weekend. We're currently playing a game, but talk more about that on next walk and review and get the week started. It was a nice way to end the weekend.
So for all these games, what did you think about it? Let us know that in the comments below. And until next time, the box is closed.